Welcome, 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 everybody, to Awakenings Moments to Inspire. My name is Angela, or Angel with an A, and this is
I'm Sarah Hazel Evans.
and my beautiful co-host Sarah, and we are here to awaken and inspire you. And we are broadcasting at Oneness Talk Radio, YouTube, Facebook, and onenesstalkradio.com. And we are just absolutely over the moon, excited to be here with you today. So, Sarah, what have you been up to lately?
Well, living the best life ever.
Rock on. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
There's some left brain things that we've got to look at here today before we dive too deep. But I think what we should do maybe is some Ave Saw breaths just to kind of get us into the container and get us centered with each other in this beautiful space as we welcome everybody else who's coming in from all around the world. I'm sure is out there coming in and watching. And so, would you like to lead us in our Ave Saw breath for today?
I would love to. So, the Ave Sa, where we call in the divine on the Ave and we release with the audible saw and a smile. So, calling in, we'll do three of them. Hands on the heart, breathing in, Ave, Sa. Exhale. Breathe in, Ave, and Sa. Exhale. Last time, breathing in, Ave, and exhale, Sa. And smile.
I call it the cherry on top.
Yeah, I like it.
Just gets that little bit of effervescence energy just to come right up through into your face and into your whole being, and it just lights you up, right? I
Feeling
love
all bubbly.
yes. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. Ah, so many beautiful energies. I can't believe it's February. We're already 9th of February, 2020.
Yeah.
I feel like I was just watching you at New Year's, and now look at us here like a month and almost 2 weeks
It,
into February.
it's really insane. It just feels and I don't know about Canada because I'm in the Midwest in the States and you're in Canada and today feels like winter, but even it just feels like when February 1 hit, it was just all of a sudden it felt like a brand new, like, here we are. But it also started to feel like spring,
Mhm.
like that energy, that rebirth energy and everything. And yeah, so it's
Mhm.
amazing that we're almost to the middle of February already.
I know, I know. It blows my mind every time. Which reminds me, actually, we will be having our regular new moon service ceremony circle on the 20th. And if anybody is interested in taking part in that, please just email me at waterloveandlight@gmail.com and I'll get you on the Zoom link list so that you are going to be there. It'll be it's usually at 7 p.m. on the new moon, unless there's any thing that comes up. But as far as I know, it's going to be on the 7th on the new moon. So just drop me an email and let me know if you want
And
to join.
January's was wonderful. That one
Oh,
was so much fun. That was yeah.
yep.
So
I had a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun just the community coming together, right? Is just bringing all of that energy and all of the friendships and the connections that you've brought, and it just kind of knits you that much closer together because you share your stories and
whenever you have a call and you feel like by the time you get off your cheeks are hurting
yeah,
because it just is that contagious smile, those are the best.
I agree, agree. And your forehead's kind of tense because you've smiled so much. And Denise is saying hi from
Yeah,
Italy. Namaste,
Denise.
Denise. Hi, lovely.
Love Italy. Italy is so much fun. Beautiful country.
I've only had the fortunate travel to the United States and here in Canada. I've not gone around the world, but it is on my bucket list to do for sure, for sure. I'm just trying to think what other left brain things we may have. Our beautiful book, Global Minga. If you are interested in taking part, we are compiling stories and poetry and art from the community itself to put together a book that's very similar to a Chicken Soup for the Soul type book. But it's within the Global Minga community. And the Global Minga, again, if you're interested, you can go to Global Minga Renaissance at Facebook, or you can also drop by shriankara.com to learn a little bit more. But basically, what Minga is it's coming together as a community, right, Sarah?
Yes, it
Yeah,
really is.
yeah.
It really is.
And just going out and doing what needs to be done, seeing that it needs to be done and lending a hand. And that's what I absolutely loved about Global Minga when I first heard about it. And then when Gary, beautiful Gary, who's got the heart of a poet, and he has created so many beautiful works and has inspired me. He came up with this beautiful idea, and so I'm trying to champion it. And hopefully, we'll have some stories, and it'll help uplift and inspire the community even more, which is what I love to
Well,
do.
I think it's a wonderful idea, and I think it's an absolute, just envisioning and Gary. I think Gary, sharing a little bit more directly would be awesome. Um, but so Gary, if you hear, maybe we need to have you come on. But anyway, but
Yes.
even just the idea of having a coffee table book that people can, start the conversation, like what is Global Minga, even if it's something where, whenever you feel like you need that pick me up or whatever, you can pick it up and read it. And I think it's a great idea. Absolutely wonderful.
I love the idea right from the get-go. So Gary, thumbs up to you. And his beautiful wife Lynn, who's also a champion behind it too. Both of them are absolutely phenomenal community members. um, so ascended numerology. Did you do the ascended numerology for today?
Me? No. Are you asking our community? I'm curious. Wouldn't that be fun to have the community kind of just like chime in and just kind of that collectiveness
Yeah.
of, because I love how, just hearing the take on what the numerology, those numbers, the energy of them. So much fun. So I think we should have, I'm not a singer, so I'm not going to do it, but I think we should have like a little cue in like song, numerology.
Okay, I'll get the musician to come on.
There you go.
But that could be a great challenge too for those of us who do know ascended numerology. How much do you actually do it on a daily basis? How much have you imbued it into your life and into your daily ritual of who you are, is embracing that energy first thing in the morning when you get up? I know I can honestly say even myself I'm a little laxed in it. But I really should, and I think that could be a challenge maybe in the future we could do with
Yeah.
everyone too.
Yeah. I think that would be fun. I need to get back into it and play with it more.
Yeah,
And
that's what,
just,
and doing something
it's a
like that would
muscle.
definitely be, yeah,
It's a muscle.
yep, yep, exactly, and you just have to train it, right?
Yep. Yep.
All right. Well, the ascended numerology for today is a 10. And I've spoken about the 10 before on several occasions about phalanges and creation um and the fact that it's a month of 9, which is the holy trinity of male, female, and spark coming together. But there's also that activity of the choice in the month of, so February is a month of choice. So a number 10, which is today, the power of all activity and manifest energy. And so this
Mm.
is what I was feeling into with all of the energies combined. In a choice month, on a day of power of all activity and manifest energy, what are you choosing to fill your cup with? And thereby, what is it that you are manifesting in your life? Is it what you want? Is it how you wish to live your life? Or are you filling your cup with energy of less than, of stagnation, which simply manifests more of the same? Are you an infinite creator who has the ability to use the tools of the universe given to you? Yes. Your body, your mind, to create your own beautiful existence. Once you let go of the need to control the journey, embrace the knowing of your heart and its crystalline clarity, and allow it to lead the way.
You know, that just, even the 10, all of that just is perfect for what we were kind of touching base on earlier in preparation for getting together.
Mhm,
Just, immediately I could dive right back into the conversation of where we were with the topic of today,
mhm.
filling your cup and holding up the chalice, right?
Yeah, yep. Um, so let's start with some a little bit of definitions. So when we say fill our cup, what comes to your mind, Sarah, when you say fill the cup?
Filling the cup, I always go back to, how am I nourishing me? Or how is something being nourished?
Mhm.
Right. Yeah. I mean, filling the cup. What about you for filling the cup?
Yes, it goes back to that nourishing for sure. And I would ask people to just when they are, so when we talk about nourishing and filling your cup, you're filling who you are. We give all the time, right? And we're not necessarily pulling in and giving to ourselves. And we can fill our cup in so many different ways. We can fill it with things that nourish us, that we think nourish us, like material values and things like that, which in some aspects might nourish you. But then there's the filling of the cup where you're going deep and you're feeling those voids in your life and what they really are and what they really mean to you. And then finding the counterpart that fills that up wholly and completely with love and light, as opposed to something that's just like a band-aid that covers it up. So there's the nourishing things that we do for ourselves that could be seen more as destructive. And then there's the ones that we do for ourselves that would be seen more as holistic, I guess. Either is valid and either has this great way of filling you up. And just to use myself as an example, to fill my cup and to get myself through life, I've done so by adding food to that cup. And it hasn't necessarily led me down a good path because I wasn't filling it with the things that I needed to fill it with. So,
Well, and I don't know if this is too soon to go here, but when it comes to filling your cup, there's also there's also the, how your priorities and how you are actively engaging in your life.
mhm,
And and I think that this is a very important thing to talk about right now, just, or even to just be able to for people to stop and think
mhm,
for a moment about this, because it's so easy to get caught up with the things that are going on around you.
mhm,
And I know we kind of talked about this with last week's topic too, but the autopilot. And right now, to step out, to actually rise above, there has to be that taking personal charge, taking personal account in what's going on. So
Mhm.
when it comes to filling your cup, it's I know a lot of people right now who are being so whipsawed
Mhm.
by everything else that everybody else is going on in their lives, and I need to help take care of it and so forth, easily falling into that enabling victim consciousness,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And to nourish it, to take 5-10 minutes out for yourself, you know that right there is, there's so much that can go into, like, okay, if I could just take a bath at night, I just want to sit and read my book, and that kind of stuff, like you said. Are you getting caught up, and it's even the things that you're saying, like, are you taking account for the things that you're saying? How are you filling your cup up?
Mhm.
How are you nourishing yourself? And so there's a lot of different ways, and there's no right or wrong, but just being accountable to yourself the best you can.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And that l what comes to mind as you're talking is when you're filling your cup with that and you're lifting yourself and you're nourishing yourself up, that's what then leads to the raising of your chalice. So when I mean chalice, I'm meaning the whole you. I'm meaning the vessel that is you, not just this physical form, but the I am presence of who you are, body, mind, and spirit. That is your chalice. And when you're able to fill your cup with peace, with love, with joy, with the things that nourish body, mind, and spirit all together, that's when you raise your vibration. That's when you raise your chalice. That's when it goes even higher and higher and higher. And you begin to lift and see, and you begin to have compassion, right? So we're going into the fifth, and we're beginning to have compassion for ourselves, and putting aside the negative thoughts. Compassion for yourself leads to compassion for others. And then once you have compassion for others, you begin to set aside judgments again for yourself and for others. Because you see, we're all in the same kind of pickle. We're all in the same boat. We're all I am as you are. And we can see that and understand that at a better when we let go of the judgments, and we can, so that's seventh, letting go of the judgment. And then you go even higher and you get that detached place of unconditional love, but not loving, what I like to call loving detachment, so that you can look out at the world and see it for all of its glory, regardless of shade, and you love it all, and you know that it's all you experiencing life however it is that you need to be experiencing life in that moment, whether it be through the eyes of a mail delivery person, or the president of the United States, or some poor little child in the jungle somewhere. That is you regardless. And if you can fill your child, fill your cup with gratitude and peace and love for yourself, your chalice raises, and then you get to that place of loving detachment. And then you can, what I love about the place of loving detachment is you can live your life freely, openly, and without fear,
Yeah.
because you know that all is well and everything is exactly as it should be.
Yeah.
Um, Again, regardless of shade. So,
See, when I think of, so it was, I sat with that, right?
mhm,
The chalice, raising the chalice, because immediately when I think of raising the chalice, like, fill your cup, raise your chalice, it's like, if I'm going to take it down to, maybe a more densified way of looking at it, because I mean, realistically, you hear that, fill your cup, raise your chalice, it's like, if I take care of me, if I'm taking care of me, it's like I'm opening myself up to what is good, right? I'm opening my awareness to let everything come in, right? So initially, when I think of opening the chalice, I'm seeing it as I'm opening my vibration, portal to just allow that to come in. But then, like I was like, okay, opening the chalice, and I was kind of doing a little bit of research and went in and there is the raising, the priest raising the chalice, and doing the communion, right? Raising the chalice. And what that means is and I actually wrote it down: for people to see and adore Jesus present in the newly constructed or consecrated elements. So, but the representation, the main thing to get out of that I took was the fact that it allows us to raise the child. It allows us to actually open ourselves up to source and to love.
Yeah. Yes.
It opens us up to experience, beyond the veil, to see the spiritual truths, to become one with spirit, and to also remember the beauty of the universal laws, if you want to take it there, right? And the chalice itself, is representation of a central place for, all of, in the biblical terms, the disciples to come or whatever. But to gather, I think, is what it was. But the thing is that it represents the fact that if we fill our cup, we become more aligned with who we are meant to be, who we want to be, how we shine. And in doing that, it just very, naturally our purpose unfolds.
Yeah.
We spread the highest good of ourselves, and it ripples out. It's the ripple effect. And so I love that it really can just simply be, I guess, that easy, right? Is that if you learn to have that relationship with yourself and what you're doing, how you're moving throughout the day, notice if it's just that you need a few moments to stop. Stop, catch what you're saying, stop, put your hand to your heart and just be like, take a deep breath. Excuse me, I need 5 minutes, and go step outside, put your feet on the ground, whatever it is, look out a window. That you might still need to fall into place where you're taking care of everybody else. And that's okay.
Yep.
I am coughing. I'm going to mute for a second.
Well, we were talking about the chalice and a version of the chalice. I was really feeling into it. What came to me was, yes, the communion with Jesus, but when you break it down, what is Jesus? Jesus knew he was the embodiment of the I am presence, right? And so in a way, Jesus was trying to express to everyone that, yes, I am a chalice. I am the chalice. I am the vessel, but as are you. So are you. And maybe somewhere in translation, we've gotten it kind of mixed up, and we've placed that he's the vessel and that we must, give to that vessel as opposed to this vessel. It's like, no. You're a cup too. You're a vessel too. And you can embrace and be that as well. You can go up to compassion, non-judgment, the loving detachment, all the way up to the crystalline 33rd, where Christ's energy exists. So Jesus knew and he had it right for sure. We just kind of mucked up the translation a little bit. But I love that. I love that. And it's and I think a
Just
lot
words.
of sorry?
They're just words.
They're words. Exactly. And I think that's where more and more people are starting to feel into the words as opposed to just taking the words. And they're beginning to realize that they're as much of a vessel as Christ was and as Jesus was with
Yeah.
Christ energy. There we go. Say it correctly. Um, there's something else that had come to me, but it's flown out of my brain already. Uh,
Well, and I think it's, and it's an important thing to know that we can be all of it in one day,
yeah.
you know, and within 5 minutes, I can tap from third to seven to five to back to seven. I mean, I can just be all through the mix of it. And it's just life.
Yep.
But where are you holding most of your allowing in? And what are you giving your energy to? And that's what happens
Mhm.
too when
Yeah.
you fill up your cup. It's like when you fill up your cup, what are you filling your cup up with?
Yeah.
Because whatever you're filling it up within you, it's also what you're giving energy on the outside. So it's a really great thing to be noticing, like, if you're filling your cup up with the chaos that's around you,
Mhm.
you're just feeding more of it. And
Yep.
so, if when you stop and say, nope, I'm going to step outside and I'm going to, go out and let the wind hit my face for a minute, I'll be right back. You already put, put a plug in some of that chaos. And, and so it's like, you have to remember that it gives you that ability to be, you know, like we were talking this morning, that beautiful, you're the artist, right?
Yeah.
You are your artwork, and the world around you is your canvas.
Yep.
So it's like, fill that cup up with the art that you want to see, the art that you want to be.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And when you do that, your vibration raises, and your vibration is you. It is this body might seem materialistic, but it's simply a vibration. It just
Yeah.
vibrates at a very fast rate so that it seems physical. So we are literally just vibration. So when you raise your vibration, you begin to see out further, understand more. And I think your heart, I love just when I get it, when I know it, when I understand what's in front of me and I'm no longer afraid, it's that heart opening up. It's like the chalice gets even bigger and wider so that it can take in even more energy. It goes from being this little wee tiny champagne flute to this great big monstrous huge bowl ready to consume all the energy of the world around it because it just wants to soak up as much life and as much joy as possible. And for those of us who are in the service to others, and whether it be uh, for everything from a teacher to a doctor, right down through to a spiritual leader or a life coach, everyone's giving to somebody, whether it's a mom to a child, husband to wife, so on and so forth. And if we, going back to what you were saying, if we fill it full of things that nourish us, when we go out into the world that's more densified, more 3D, more calling to you and having you to do things like work, pick up kids at ballet, run around, and or have those hard discussions with people that we all have to have. you're able to do it from a place that's much more grounded, much more centered, much more anchored in who you are, rather than taking it personally, or going completely off topic and making it about something that it's not even about.
Yeah. Well, and I'm gonna take this into a different direction, because as you're talking, I'm thinking to myself about how, and I know that I'm not the only one. I know that over time, as I've taken the steps to be more diligent in, how I'm filling up my cup,
Mhm.
and being more aware of how the chalice is opening and how that affects things, and being more mindful of that. I have, again, working the muscle, right? I've noticed things like, I'm able to be in this situation differently, or handle this thing differently. And I've created peace in my life. I've created a space that is peaceful. I have eliminated things that were not maybe lifting me up the way that I really desired to be lifted up.
Mhm.
And I've created boundaries, but I've also opened up boundaries too, right? Um, but the thing that does come into play is that you can sit there and you can be doing it, and you can ride that wave. It's like you're filling your cup up, and you might, as a whole, be moving through, you know being in that more densified state on a given, but all of a sudden you're starting now to be in 5D a lot more, right?
Mhm.
You're hitting the fifth, and then maybe you're hitting the seventh, but then something happens. So the overall big picture, you're like, oh, wait a second. And you are either telling yourself that you can't take care of yourself, you can't fill your cup up, or you find that you've all of a sudden gotten so busy that oh my gosh, and you start dipping down on a hole, and then all of a sudden you feel less than, because you're not doing the things that you had been doing. And so all these life things happen,
Yep.
and that's okay that it does. But the beauty is where you've been is now your base point.
Yeah.
Where you've been. So if
Water.
you've been, yeah. But it is something that I think is a very good, honest conversation to have, because you know it can take people back a little bit, and it can be hard sometimes
Yep.
to lose that momentum, and forget that it's just a moment. This too shall pass.
Yep.
Well,
Yep. Yep.
but what are you doing in those moments?
Yep. Yep. I'm feeling called to tell a bit of a little private story here. This is just brand
Now,
new. Just
now we need another jingle. Story time, story time.
Denise says, learning through experience is a humble act. Yes, healing.
Yes,
And Holy
yes.
Spirit in me said we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. Absolutely. 100%. Um, for me, for those of us who have followed us recently, or have been following me for a while, but Sarah's brand new. But maybe heard the story where I was morbidly obese. I had hit my dead end. I was physically unable to move. I had a lot of ailments, a lot of problems. And because I was filling my cup up with less than, even though I had all of these beautiful things happening to me, and all of these beautiful manifestations happening with me, there were still aspects of my life, like watching the news, that I still have problems with, and that's filling my cup up, and it's bringing chaos into my life. It's making me feel like I need to be out there doing something, like some type of spiritual activism or something, But it's also, it made me do a cycle in that I have physically recently just harmed myself. So I wasn't able to move around so much. I was stuck kind of in one place in large amounts of pain, unable to move. And this morning, I came to a deep realization that in a microcosm way, not this big, huge macrocosm, but in a microcosm way, the cycle had brought it around for me to look at again. And I was able to see the core I was 6 years ago, 7 years ago, and what I was beginning to do yet again, even though I had anchored so much and I had manifested so much joy in my life, there's aspects of that I was filling my cup up, which were less than and causing me, and it's something I have to work on. I know. But you have to, that's where I've been, develop your sense of humor, find your joy in it. It's like, okay, well, I've done that. Whoops. Um, I'm I'm just going to try not to kick myself about it. I'm going to relax. I'm going to release. And I know that somewhere along the lines, I will get my lesson that will make me see more clearly than ever before that I don't need to do this anymore. And that was kind of what came around for me today. This morning, I was literally this morning, and I had realized that I hadn't been necessarily, I've been filling my cup with all of these beautiful, nourishing things, but on some level, I was still bringing aspects of the chaos and less than into my life, which resulted in a life lesson. The universe going, Angela, are you there?
Well, you made that comment earlier that, filling your cup up, a lot of times, we think of it as filling your cup up with material things.
Yeah.
But that can also be trying to fill your cup up with stories that maybe aren't really true. And, and it's like, then how often are you filling your cup up just by loving yourself? And that doesn't mean, the actual act of giving yourself, a spa day or treating yourself to, a
It was just
fudge,
everyone.
yeah, a hot fudge sundae. I mean, those are great ways to fill yourself up. But it's like, how are you filling your cup up with the words that you say to yourself? How are you filling your cup up? And every single time you go through one of those cycles, you're not the same person.
Yeah.
And don't you want to be a better person the next time you come around to it?
Mhm.
Don't you want to be able to come back around to it where it's like you're not going through it as the same person, but even a little more healed than before?
Yeah.
That to the point where you go through the cycles, but it's just a cycle of love over and over and over again. You know, that's what, when you were talking about that, it's like, okay, but just loving yourself, learning to love yourself.
Yeah. I was picturing, as you were talking, I was picturing filling your cup up, but through those toys. Did you ever have those toys where you like a car toy or something where you revved it along the carpet for a few seconds and then you could let it go? And that's what I kind of see it like, is the cycle of each time you come around to rev it across the carpet, you're understanding more and you're letting go of more fear and more hesitancy to the time that you've got it around and you just let it go.
Let
You
it
just
go.
let it go.
Let it
Off
go.
zooms across the room and it might crash into something. Who knows? It might
Yeah.
go into a soft teddy bear pillow. You never know. But the joy is exhilarating, that it's off and running. And where's it going to take you? Right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love
Well, and I mean, I'm going to say this too, and you're right. And that's when you do it to the self. And one of the definition of to sin, and I think I bring this up a lot because I think it is a very healthy, healing way of looking at things that come up in life.
Mhm.
And, the definition to sin, don't get in the way of others and don't let others get in the way of you, right? Short and simple. wording of it, but and that to me, I think is really important for a lot of people to hear right now. And a lot of people can't register what that means.
Yeah.
It's like just that does that, like, what does that mean? But when you think about filling your cup up, when you feel like you can't,
Yeah.
when you feel like there's no way I have time in the day to do it, like, what do you mean? I gotta do this, I gotta do that, or there's all this stuff going on. I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that. To stop and really take an inventory of it, and and engage, like, one, understand what that means. um what that means for you to understand that definition, but then also, where are others forcing themselves in on you
Mhm.
that doesn't feel like, I mean, there are time and place. It's like, yeah, okay, I get it. It's, yeah, it's might not want to do it, but I know it's in the end, it's yeah, okay, I'll do it. But then there's those that, I really don't want to, but I feel forced.
Yeah.
And also too, where are you wanting something more than somebody else wants it? And you're forcing yourself in that situation.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
And that a lot of times that comes up, I know for me, if I all of a sudden find myself worrying or
Mhm.
concerned about somebody, that's taking my energy when I could be filling my cup up.
Yep. And even, um, this goes back to, it's about filling your cup up, but it's also about filling and taking a little bit from Esther Hicks here, and Abraham Hicks is using that chain of pain. Are you
Yeah.
continuing that chain of pain, and is your chain dripping into your cup? And if so, how can you move it or stop it? And how can you say, okay, I'm not going to go forward any further with this feeling. I'm going to, and you have choices. That's why I love when you get to identify stuff too, and you get to decide whether or not it's going to be in your cup. You can either let it go instantaneously, saying, I don't need to see this. I don't need to look at this. I understand. I feel it. I understand it. But I know it's no longer me. But I know it helped me through something. I'm going to be thankful and let it go. Then there's people like me who like to dive deep and who see what it is that, because my ego has been trained to learn stuff to a point where it feels safe and then lets go. And so, depending on how, and then this is a prime example of, there's no wrong way or right way of filling your cup. Do it with what is singing in your heart and how you are moving through your journey.
Yeah.
Teachers and gurus can give you as much advice as they can, but at the end of the day, it's still their unique experience. It's their unique take on the lesson and what is happening. They are not you, you are not them. You have to send yourself. You have to embrace self ascension within your own means. So take the boundaries of whatever modality that you're learning. For both Sarah and I, it's the Yoga of Self Ascension. So we kind of like to stay within the lanes of the Yoga of Self Ascension and fill our a cup up that way, through meditation, through teachings, of understanding that, again, that we are a unique person, that our gurus and our teachers are unique people, and that there's no need for pedestals. The only need for a pedestal is the one you put yourself on, and the one that you fill. And when you put yourself on it, you're filling up your own cup, and how you're doing that. So again, your teachers can show you and can help you, point you in the right way, but the number one teacher that you have always, ever, and forever is you, right here in this heart, right between
First,
these two.
first breath, last breath, before and after.
right behind this big breastbone. That's where that's the leader of it all. And if you have the ability to just say, I feel you, I see you, I love you, and I'm going to let you go so that you can go out into the universe energy, be transmuted and be used wherever it is needed most. Hallelujah. Or if you're like me and you want to dive out and find out what part of you wants to speak about this, and then love that part of you and allow them to speak about this so that you understand on a much more deeper mental level, egoic level, so that your ego goes, oh, right, okay, right, I'm a spiritual being. I don't need to be doing this anymore. I'm going to go sit in the back of the bus with my iPod and my popcorn and let you take over. And that's how I am able to navigate. And so don't ever think that you have to do things these A, B, C, D, E, F, G in order to get the do what is singing to you in your heart. And you will
Yeah.
get there. I promise you.
Well, and you brought up Esther and Abraham. And when you said that, I went to how they always talk about the car going down the hill and the momentum that
Yeah.
happens. And I love, the fact of just, you know, even if it's just for 15 minutes today,
Yeah.
or whatever, you stop that momentum. You slowed it down a little bit. You slowed it down. Eventually, that you're going to be able to put your hands up and say, "Okay, I'm done with you, car. We're putting you in park now. You're done." Right? But also too, just like others, we have to become consciously ready.
Yeah.
Not only up to speed, but ready.
Yeah.
And so whatever it is, we all have our own things, we have our own stories, we have our own whatever. To leave that relationship, or to walk past the plate of cookies, or to forgive somebody, or whatever it is, it doesn't even matter. But until you can see it and feel it for yourself, you're going to have to keep going through things. And that's a beautiful thing, because it really is. It's helping you to, pull out the things that don't fit anymore. It's helping you to clean the window and try to get the fog off. All of those little things that we're going through, we're opening ourselves up consciously to be ready to receive.
Yeah. Yep. Yes.
So
Yes.
as we're going through all these things that maybe we feel like is blocking us from filling up our cup at times, or that we think, okay, I'm doing all this, but I'm trying to raise the chalice and I just don't see it. I just don't see it happening.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that might be, again, collectively, that raising of consciousness is doing that same thing. It's, and as if you're looking at it on a collective, humanity, society type thing, we are better now in so many ways than we ever have been. And, and if you go back and you watch, old movies, old TV shows, you'll hear, you'll hear how things have changed, but you'll
Mm-hmm.
also hear how things are still the same.
Yeah. Yep.
And we find comfort in both of those things.
Yep.
And we also can be a little scared by both of those things,
Yes.
but it's life. And
Yep.
to remember, at the end of the day, this is life. And we've chosen to be here for the experience.
Yep.
And we are in the experience. And it's a gift. And I feel like I just did one of our morning rampages. I want to end. And so it is. I am complete.
That would be just to take it down into the simple nuances of it all. Filling your cup in a basic essence, is simply doing that which nourishes your heart and nourishes your body and nourishes your mind. To but that something so for most people, for the average person, I think that's not necessarily too hard. There's always something to be thankful for around you, and it's easy to see. But for those that are a little further down into the darker shades of life, look around and see what it is, even if it's just a beautiful sunset that you're there to see, or that you were able to help somebody carry something across the road, or find whatever it is that you can at least be thankful for, to bring that one simple little ray of light into your chalice. And from there, you can build it.
And if that's hard for you to do, then maybe a thought is to find that one time of day that works for you. Carve out 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and it doesn't have to be meditation. It doesn't have to be journaling, but whatever it is that and it might change. You might do it for a month or a week, whatever, and it might change. But 5-10 minutes consistently on a daily basis, take the time for you to do what fills you up in
Yeah.
a healthy, positive way.
Yeah.
And just stay consistent with that and watch and see how that makes a difference.
What came to me too was, do a rampage to yourself in the mirror. If you don't have a rampage person to do a rampage with, so rampage, what I am I'm trying to give an example just very quickly off the top of my head. I love joy. Joy fills me up. The things that bring me joy are birds and um, mushrooms and grass and do rainbows. They fill my heart full of warmth, and they expand my energy envelope open. And so that's a very basic example of a rampage. But if you can do that even just with yourself in the morning in the bathroom,
And feel it.
and feel it,
Feel it.
feel it, and start small. It just can be something very simple, benign, and it doesn't necessarily even have to do with you specifically as a person. It could be, you know, I love I did one this morning about water. I love water. I love the fact that there's snow. I love the fact that it's cloudy and misty out there in the world today, because that means the water is hanging in the air and rinsing everything clean. And so
It's
find something.
it's and you're absolutely right. And it can even be before you go to bed.
Yeah.
If you can find a consistent time in the day where you stop and you just feel into whatever the first good feeling sentence stems you can find. I feel good. I feel happy. I feel at peace. I feel in love. I really like, um, this feels good. Or, I love my couch. My couch is comfy, whatever it is. Or, I am okay. I am okay. I am okay because I know that I have 10 fingers. I am okay because I have 10 toes. I know that I can open up my own jar of pickles if I want to because I have thumbs. Whatever it is, but start to feel into whatever it is that that lifts you up, and hold that for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and just allow that. And it's actually a really cool thing that happens.
Yeah,
Really
it
cool.
feels like a bubble. I call it the bubble, and it's like it bursts inside of you, and you just have this. Sometimes I even feel like I want to belch.
And don't no, no. And don't you also notice that the more we do it, the more that it just is like, you realize it's easier, that they're easier, they come to you, and
Yeah,
the feeling just kind of, yeah.
I
Yeah.
know. it's just amazing. And then I call it the champagne bubbles that just kind of
Yeah.
bubble up through to you. Hey, Pauline, so wonderful that you were able to make it, even though it's at the very end. I'll try and remember to send you a text. We're going live.
And Denise, I love all that Denise has shared, and the same thing with Holly Spirit and me. I get you both. I've been reading them. I'm like, I'm with you. I'm with you both. So I love it. I love it. And it is freeing to know that life is simply an experience. I think I've really, really, I mean, that is truly a daily reflection,
Yeah,
and it's so peace filled.
yeah, yep. I heard it said once that, yeah, there is no right or wrong. We just live our lives based on that which we learned as a child in order to survive, in order to get through life, in order to begin. And it might sound slightly hard but it's really is the truth. And
Yeah.
it's yeah, we learned how to survive in a specific environment, so we act that way, and it's about unlearning and knowing that you have those choices, right? So we're going back into the 10 and the choice month. Full circle, loop
Full
around.
circle. Is it full circle or full circle?
Full Well, it depends on if you wanna go clockwise or Windershins, I guess, whatever calling that you have, because it's different for some people and other, paths have, the rituals are clockwise, and then in some instances, they're counterclockwise, so we're all here for everybody, and we welcome everyone, whether you go clockwise or counterclockwise.
We love the variance because there's no right or wrong.
There's no right or wrong. Exactly. I absolutely love that. So we're almost out of time. We got about 3 minutes, my darling. Is there anything that you want to leave them with? Any words of wisdom?
I just, my love and thoughts are with everybody, that I hope that they are filling their cup up today, and that when they go to rest their head tonight, that they are resting it with a smile on their face because they've done so. So,
Yeah.
and I love being able to share with you and the community that's here. So thank you, everyone.
Amazing. And everyone remember that once your cup is full, it overflows and it overflows into the loved ones around you. So when your cup is full of light and love and happiness and joy, and you're able to lift yourself into those frequencies and vibrations, those around you also lift and fill their cup up with the same vibrations. And then their cup spills over. And then the next cup spills over. And then the next thing you know, everyone around you is vibrating at this high, high frequency, and everybody's chalice is up there, opened, and everyone's pitching in, and there's a community built around you. And that's leading you back to Global Minga, right?
Yeah, we're better together.
Together we are better, for absolute. Loving you all, Denise, Pauline. Who else we've got? We got so many beautiful people here. Holly,
Holly, Holy Spirit and me.
yeah, and I know that Gary and Lynn and everyone else out there love you all, and we
Yes.
will see you again next week with Awakenings Moments to Inspire, Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yes, sir.
Have a beautiful week and be good to you, and the love will be there for others. Mwah.
Namaste, everyone.